Shabbat Shalom. Good morning, YouTube. Today I am continuing on with our Bible reading. So get your Bibles out, get your coffee, and let's read along. I am using the Scriptures version translation. You can use whatever translation you have. They're all mostly the same, just little bits of differences. I like this one that it restores the original Hebrew names. Because in a lot of the other translations, God and Jesus kind of both referred to as the Lord a lot, whereas this one gives them their names and it separates them, and I do like that. Even if I can't pronounce them very well, I like the original Hebrew names. We are in Exodus chapter 16. And they set out from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second new moon, after their going out of the land of Mitzrayim. And all the congregation of the children of Israel grumbled against Moshe and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said to them, "If only we had died by the hand of Yahweh in the land of Mitzrayim, when we sat by the pots of meat, and when we ate bread to satisfaction. For you have brought us out into the wilderness to put all this assembly to death with hunger." And Yahweh said to Moshe, "See, I am raining bread from the heavens for you, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day in order to try them, whether they walk in my Torah or not. And it shall be on the 6th day that they shall prepare what they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily." And Moshe and Aaron said to all the children of Israel, "At evening you shall know that Yahweh has brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. And in the morning you shall see the esteem of Yahweh, for he hears your grumblings against Yahweh. And what are we that you grumble against us?" And Moshe said, "In that Yahweh gives you meat to eat in the evening, and in the morning bread to satisfaction, for Yahweh hears your grumblings, which you make against him. And what are we? Your grumblings are not against us, but against Yahweh." And Moshe said to Aaron, "Say to all the congregation of the children of Israel, come near before Yahweh, for he has heard your grumblings." And it came to be, as Aaron spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and see, the esteem of Yahweh appeared in the cloud. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, "I have heard the grumblings of the children of Israel. Speak to them, saying, between the evenings you are to eat meat, and in the morning you are to be satisfied with bread, and you shall know that I am Yahweh your Elohim." And it came to be that quails came up at the evening and covered the camp, and in the morning dew lay all around the camp. And the layer of dew went up, and see, on the surface of the wilderness was a small round substance, as fine as frost on the ground. And the children of Israel saw, and they said to each other, "What is it?" For they did not know what it was. And Moshe said to them, "It is the bread which Yahweh has given you to eat. This is the word which Yahweh has commanded. Let every man gather it according to each one's need, an omer for each being, according to the number of beings. Let every man take for those who are in his tent." And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more, some less. And they measured it by omers, and he who gathered much did not have too much, and he who gathered little did not have too little. Each one gathered according to his need. And Moshe said, "Let no one leave any of it until morning." And they did not listen to Moshe, so some of them left part of it until morning, and it bred worms and stank. And Moshe was wroth with them. And they gathered it every morning, each one according to his need. And when the sun became hot, it melted. And it came to be on the 6th day that they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for each one. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moshe. And he said to them, "This is what Yahweh has said. Tomorrow is a rest, a Sabbath, set apart to Yahweh. That which you bake, bake. That which you cook, cook. And lay up for yourselves all that is left over to keep it until morning." And they laid it up till morning, as Moshe commanded. And it did not stink, and no worm was in it. And Moshe said, "Eat it today, for today is a Sabbath to Yahweh. Today you do not find it in the field. Gather it 6 days, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, there is none. And it came to be that some of the people went out on the 7th day to gather, but they found none. And Yahweh said to Moshe, How long shall you refuse to guard my commands and my Torah? See, because Yahweh has given you the Sabbath, therefore he is giving you bread for 2 days on the 6th day. Let each one stay in his place. Do not let anyone go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day. And the house of Israel called its name manna, and it was like white coriander seed, and the taste of it was like thin cakes made with honey. And Moshe said, This is the word which Yahweh has commanded. Fill an omer with it to keep for your generations, so that they see the bread with which I fed you in the wilderness, when I brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. And Moshe said to Aaron, Take a pot and put an omer of manna in it, and set it down before Yahweh to keep for your generations. As Yahweh commanded Moshe, so did Aaron set it down before the witness to keep. And the children of Israel ate manna 40 years, until they came to an inhabited land. They ate manna until they came to the border of the land of Canaan. And an omer is 1/10 of an ephah. I'll try to say that one. 1/10 of an ephah. So that is chapter 16. So, the Father rains down what they called manna, because they didn't know what it was. So they gave it a new name. They called it manna. They said it was like white coriander seed. Now, a coriander seed, if you don't know, is a very small little ball. It's cilantro. Cilantro is the green version. Coriander is the seed. But it's a very small little ball. So something like that would be just on top of everything. And they were supposed to go out and gather a portion for each person in their tent. And once the sun got hot in the day, all the manna would melt. But they had to make flour of it. And I'm pretty sure if it was like coriander seed, and roughly the same size, then they would have to grind it into a flour. So I mean, it's still, it takes some work, it takes some time, but they were fed. And then in the evening they ate meat, like quail would just come and cover the camp. Quail is a small bird, but if there's a big enough flock of it, everybody's having quail. But this is the constant grumbling we're going to be seeing. They're always complaining about something. But they have this, pillar of smoke, a cloud, literally following them. They see these things. And time after time, they will keep forgetting. But we'll get to that. But keep in mind the things that they see with their own eyeballs. A pillar of smoke or cloud that is following them, protecting them. The miracles, the parting of the sea, the plagues in Egypt, the things that they are seeing with their eyeballs, with their own eyes. Keep that in mind. Chapter 17. And all the congregation of the children of Israel set out on their journey from the wilderness of Sin, according to the mouth of Yahweh, and camped in Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. Therefore the people strove with Moshe and said, Give us water to drink. And Moshe said to them, Why do you strive with me? Why do you try Yahweh? And the people thirsted there for water. And the people grumbled against Moshe and said, Why did you bring us out of Mitzrayim to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst? And Moshe cried out to Yahweh, saying, What am I to do with this people? Yet a little, and they shall stone me. And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Pass over before the people and take with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand your rod with which you struck the river, and go. See, I am standing before you there on the rock in Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and the water shall come out of it, and the people shall drink." And Moshe did so before the eyes of the elders of Israel, and he called the name of the place Massah and Meribah, because of the strife of the children of Israel, and because they tried Yahweh, saying, Is Yahweh in our midst or not? And Amalek came and fought with Israel in Rephidim. And Moshe said to Yehoshua, "Choose for us men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I am stationing myself on the top of the hill with the rod of Elohim in my hand." And Yehoshua did as Moshe said to him, to fight with Amalek. And Moshe, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. And it came to be, when Moshe held up his hand, that Israel prevailed. And when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moshe's hands were heavy, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. And Aaron and Hur supported his hands, one on one side and the other on the other side. And his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Yehoshua defeated Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Write this for a remembrance in the book, and recite it in the hearings of Yehoshua, that I shall completely blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under the heavens." And Moshe built a slaughter place and called its name Yahweh Nissi. For he said, "Because a hand is on the throne of Yah, Yahweh is to fight against Amalek from generation to generation." That was a short little chapter, but once again, they are grumbling, this time over water again. Water, food, yeah, grumbling. "Why have you brought us out here to die?" Again. And Moshe is already getting upset. It's like, what am I to do with these people? That's what it says. What am I to do with this people? He's already getting frustrated at it, but God says, strike a rock with the stick. He strikes a rock with the stick. There's water. Everybody's happy. We also have our first battle, other than with the Egyptians. And Amalek. Yeah, Amalek. And in order to win, Moses has to hold his hands up. But you can only hold your hands up so long before your arms get tired. So they have him sit on a rock, and they got one guy on each side holding his hands up. Because as long as he holds his hands up, they win. And so since they're helping him out doing that, the Israelites prevail. Chapter 18. And Yithro, the priest of Midian, Moshe's father-in-law, heard of all that Elohim had done for Moshe and for Israel his people, that Yahweh had brought Israel out of Mizraim. And Yithro, Moshe's father-in-law, took Zipporah, the wife of Moshe, after he had sent her back, and her two sons, of whom the names of one was Gershom, for he said, "I have been a sojourner in a foreign land," and the name of the other was Eliezer, for he said, "The Elohim of my father was my help, and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh." Yithro, Moshe's father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife to Moshe in the wilderness, where he was encamped at the mountain of Elohim. And he had said to Moshe, "I, your father, and he said to Moshe, "I, your father-in-law Yithro, am coming to you with your wife and her two sons with her." And Moshe went out to meet his father-in-law, and bowed down and kissed him. And they asked each other about their welfare, and they went into the tent. And Moshe told his father-in-law all that Yahweh had done to Pharaoh and to the Mitzrites for Israel's sake, and all the hardship that had come upon them on the way, and how Yahweh had delivered them. And Yithro rejoiced for all the good which Yahweh had done for Israel, whom he had delivered out of the hand of the Mitzrites. And Yithro said, "Blessed be Yahweh, who has delivered you out of the hand of the Mitzrites and out of the hand of Pharaoh, and who has delivered the people from under the hands of the Mitzrites. Now I know that Yahweh is greater than all the mighty ones, indeed in the matter in which they acted proudly above them. Then Yithro, the father-in-law of Moshe, brought an ascending offering and other slaughterings unto Elohim. And Aaron came with all the elders of Israel to eat bread with the father-in-law of Moshe before Elohim. And it came to be on the next day that Moshe sat to rightly rule the people. And the people stood before Moshe from morning until evening. And when the father-in-law of Moshe saw all that he did for the people, he said, What is this that you are doing for the people? Why do you sit by yourself, and all the people stand before you from morning until evening? And Moshe said to his father-in-law, Because the people came to me to seek Elohim. When they have a matter, they come to me, and I rightly rule between one and another, and make known the laws of Elohim and his Torah. And the father-in-law of Moshe said to him, What are you doing? What you are doing is not good. Both you and these people with you shall certainly wear yourselves out, for the matter is too heavy for you. You are not able to do it by yourself. Now listen to my voice. Let me counsel you, and Elohim be with you. Stand before Elohim for the people, and you shall bring the matters to Elohim. And you shall enlighten them concerning the laws and the Torah, and show them the way in which they should walk and the work which they do. But you yourself seek out from all the people able men who fear Elohim, men of truth, hating unfair game, and place these over them to be rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of 10s. And they shall rightly rule the people at all times, and it shall be that they bring every great matter to you, but they themselves rightly rule every small matter. So make it lighter for yourself, for they shall bear with you. If you do this word, and Elohim shall command you, then you shall be able to stand, and all his people also go to their place in peace. And Moshe listened to the voice of his father-in-law, and did all that he said. And Moshe chose able men out of all Israel, and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of 10s. And they rightly ruled the people at all times. The hard matters they brought to Moshe, but they rightly ruled every small matter themselves. And Moshe sent his father-in-law, and he went away to his own land. And that is the end of chapter 18. So Moses' father-in-law says you need to delegate here. You're taking too much on by yourself. You're going to wear yourself out. It says you need to delegate. Find some trusted men and have them rule the small stuff, the easy things, and then anything that's hard, bring that to you. Because if you remember back from chapter 12, in chapter 12, verse 37, it says about 600,000 men on foot, besides the little ones. So there were 600,000 men. Now I don't know what the age cutoff for men was, but 600,000 men, plus the women, plus the little ones. Now, little ones were likely like under 10, under 12, but they could have been a little bit older. That's a lot of people, probably over 1 million people. 600,000 just men. That's a lot of people. That is going to take like your entirety, your whole life, or one person, to go through everybody's little issue. The right rulings would be like laws, like, okay, their goat ran over my tent. Who replaces the tent? We're talking things like that. And Moses took all of that on himself at first. So he was working, morning to night, no break. So he listens to his father-in-law, and he finds trusted men to just delegate. Like, okay, you over this area, you over this area, you over these. So there was a lot of people, and they took care of the little stuff that, all right, like all of them could agree these are the little things, this is how you handle that. And then if there was something bigger or something more unusual, they would bring that to Moses. Which, there would still be a good bit, because over 1 million people. But he delegates, and that probably helped him a whole lot. Probably took a lot off his shoulders, because just even saying it seems so daunting of a task.
You are now responsible for 1 million people's and do you feel?
But that is the end of the reading for today. We will see more grumblings next week. I hope you've been joining us and reading along in your own Bible. Don't just take my word for it. And we'll see what happens next Saturday. So I hope you've had a wonderful Shabbat. May the Father bless you. Shalom.
Bye-bye.